警示篇。
成熟庄稼的标志。
The symbol of ripe crop. Schwefong. September 12010. The time for the harvest of crops will mark the end of this system. Angels will carry out the harvesting. Jesus. I am the angel to harvest the ripe crop. I will gather in the ripe crops and put them in the granary of the greatest creator. 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, celestial island continent of the Elysium world. I will bring mankind to a new millennium, the era of life genuine. The so-called ripe crop refers to person with a perfect soul. The ripe crop that I will harvest has the following characteristics. Revere the greatest creator, revere life, revere nature, and follow the way of the greatest creator. Do not involve in marriage and family, do not involve in state, do not involve in political party, and do not involve in religion. Have no position, no property, no reputation, and no influence. Have no jealousy, complaint, and comparison. Have no selfishness, greed, and contention. Have no laziness, arrogance, and enmity. Have no anxiety, worry, and fear. Not self-opinionated, flexible and accommodating. Act in response to the will and follow the Tao. Be humble, kind, industrious, honest, faithful, unsophisticated, healthy, and civilized. Be good at games, like collective activities and collective life. Be outgoing and vivacious, and always remain happy and pleasant. Cling to celestial life rather than human life, to celestial relations rather than human relations. Follow the Tao of celestial beings rather than the Tao of man. Attach to the fairyland rather than the human world. Without the above 8 characteristics, the crop cannot be regarded as ripe crop. The unripe cannot be gathered in the granary, kingdom, of the greatest creator, and cannot enter the heavenly kingdom. I will lead the ripe crop to the heavenly kingdom, 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, celestial island continent of the Elysium world. The unripe crops will enter the life genuine era to continue their growth and development. As for the others, they are none of my business and have nothing to do with me.
人间和千年界的情爱观对照。
A contrast between the view of love in human world and the view of love in 1,000-year world. Xiefeng. April 28, 2007. Human world. I have affection for you, and you must also have affection for me. I love you, and you must also love me. The 1,000-year world. I have affection for you, but you need not have affection for me. I love you, but you need not love me. Human world. I have affection and love for you. You must be responsible for my affection and love. The 1,000-year world. I have affection and love for you. You need not be responsible for my affection and love. Human world. Lovers will be united in marriage and family. The 1,000-year world. Lovers need not be united in marriage and family. Human world. I love only you. The 1,000-year world. I love all people. Human world. I have affection only for you. The 1,000-year world. I have affection for all people. Human world. There are reasons and conditions for affection and love. The 1,000-year world. There are no reasons and conditions for affection and love. Human world. You can only love me. The 1,000-year world. You must love all people. Human world. Affection and love is selfish. The 1,000-year world. Affection and love is unselfish. Human world. The soul and attentive constant love is most respectable. The 1,000-year world. The soul and attentive constant love is most harmful to the collective and society. Human world. The couple who have affection and love for each other own each other. The 1,000-year world. The couple who have affection and love for each other do not own each other. Human world. The couple who have affection and love for each other keep company with each other all their life. The thousand-year world. The couple who have affection and love for each other can part with each other anytime. Human world. One may worry that his or her love may be usurped by other people. The thousand-year world. One need not have any worry about love. Human world. I will protect my affection and love. The thousand-year world. I will release my affection and love. Human world. One must pay the cost for affection and love. The thousand-year world. Affection and love is natural and one need not pay any cost. Human world. My affection and love belong to you, and your affection and love belong to me. The thousand-year world. There is no affection and love that belongs exclusively to anyone. Human world. Without your affection and love, I will be overwhelmed with sorrow. The thousand-year world. Everyone has affection and love, and no one will be overwhelmed with sorrow because of affection and love. Human world. There is jealousy and resentment involved in affection and love. The thousand-year world. One will only experience joy and pleasure in affection and love and will not feel jealousy and resentment. Human world. I feel unhappy to see your affection and love for others. The thousand-year world. I feel happy to see your affection and love for others. Human world. Affection and love is restricted by morals and customs. Otherwise, it constitutes the abuse of affection and love. The thousand-year world. Affection and love is itself moral. There is no problem of abuse of affection and love. Human world. Affection and love is something to be pursued. The thousand-year world. Affection and love is the precious gift endowed by the greatest creator and is the nature of origin. Human world. Affection and love is the greatest obstacle to achieve the spiritual state of celestials and Buddha. The thousand-year world. Lack of affection and love is the greatest obstacle to achieve the spiritual state of celestials and Buddha. Human world. Secular affection and love is the principal factor to maintain the harmony and stability of society. The thousand-year world. Secular affection and love is the principal factor that contributes to the plight and afflictions of man and human society.
情爱中毒
The intoxication of love. 睡疯 June 29, 2010. Affection and love are the precious gifts bestowed to the humankind by the greatest creator. Like salt in dishes, affection and love can make the food delicious and delectable. However, what will happen if we take mouthfuls of salt or mix a lot of salt in the dishes? It is just terrible. There is no real poison in the world. Everything can be poison if the proper amount is exceeded. Heroin, arsenic, opium, morphine, marijuana, Dolantin, coca, cocaine, ice, ketamine, and ecstasy are all useful things if taken in an extremely small amount. Once the proper amount is exceeded, they are poisons. Oxygen is a very good thing, right? But you may be poisoned if you take high concentration, high flow, and high pressure of oxygen for an exceeded amount of time. Appropriate amount of wine can help regulate the circulation of blood, but we will be poisoned by alcohol if we take too much wine. We drink water every day, but we may be poisoned if we drink more water than kidney can handle. A proper amount of bee venom is beneficial to our health, but excessive dosage of it will kill us. Money is a very good thing, but if we are blinded by lust for money, money may prove the most lethal poison. Appropriate amount of desire is also a good thing, but it may prove to be a deadly poison if we are consumed by boundless avarice. Affection and love is a very good thing, But once we are blinded by it, affection and love will be the poison of life. In the proper amount, everything will be useful, but once the proper amount is exceeded, anything can be a poison. What kinds of affection and love are poisons of love? The affection and love between wife and husband is the poison of life. The affection and love between lovers is poison of life. The steadfast affection and love is poison of life. The fully devoted affection and love is poison of life. The hysterical affection and love is the poison of life. The intoxicating affections and love is the poison of life. The affection and love that makes it difficult for you to sleep and have any appetite is the poison of life. The affection and love with a solemn pledge is the poison of life. The affection and love that require a life of commitment is the poison of life. The above poisons of affection and love are all a result of excessive dosage. If you are emaciated for affection and love, if you are lost in a trance, if you become listless because of love, or if you die for love, you are poisoned by love, which is no different from the poisoning of heroin. People, take care, be on guard against the love poisoning. The best way to prevent love poisoning is to learn from celestial beings in the thousand-year world.
百年惨烈地震与耶稣警示。
A century's dreadful earthquakes and Jesus' revelation. Shuefeng. January 19, 2010. Jesus the Christ's revelation said, "And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." Historically, human beings had never experienced such frequent earthquakes in the history. Please look at the following cataclysmic earthquakes all over the world. On December 28, 1908, the earthquake in Messina, Italy took more than 80,000 lives. On December 16, 1920, about 200,000 people were killed in the earthquake in Haiyuan, China. On September 1, 1923, in Japan, it was estimated that about 143,000 deaths in the Great Kanto earthquake. On October 5, 1948, in Turkmenistan, the Ashgabat earthquake took 110,000 lives. On May 31, 1970, the earthquake in Ancash, Peru killed about 70,000 people and 800,000 became homeless. In 1976, the death toll in the Great Tangshan earthquake in China was about 250,000. On December 26, 2004, Indian Ocean earthquake triggered a series of devastating tsunamis, and 227,898 people were killed according to official announcement. On October 8, 2005, about 79,000 were killed in the Pakistan Kashmir earthquake. On May 12, 2008, in China, the Sichuan earthquake killed 69,225 people and 17,923 were missing. On January 13, 2010, a strong earthquake struck Haiti, killing about 300,000 people. What do these frequent earthquakes mean? It means the beginning of circles of sorrows. Human beings are on the point of experiencing a period of unusual difficulties. Great tribulation is coming. Jesus told us, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved." But for the elects refers to the Chanyuan celestials on Book of Life noted by Dayform Buddha, "Sake those days shall be shortened. For as the lightning comes out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect, refers to the Chanyuan celestials on Book of Life noted by Dayform Buddha, from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. The Life Chanyuan era will start then. We must be alert and keep watch because we are at a turning point in human history. Believe it or not, it's up to you.
不要把希望寄托在人身上。
Do not lay your hopes on a person. Xiefeng. July 9th, 2012. Translated by Tong Xin and edited by Care. Human beings are absolutely unreliable. However trustworthy a person seems, they will eventually die. So how can he or she be reliable? Can parents be reliable? They cannot even master their own fates to be alive or dead the next day. So how can they be relied upon? Can husbands and wives be reliable? Not mentioning the changes of faith and love, even if their love remains strong and consistent, once there is any unexpected misfortune, where will the person that you want to rely on be? Can sons and daughters be reliable? There have been many concerned parents since very ancient times. But where is the child who is filial? Chinese proverb. Can lovers be reliable? Someone once said, "I will surely be responsible for her." This is total nonsense. You do not even know whether you will be alive or not on the next day. So how can you be responsible for her? Can you guarantee her happiness and blessings for her whole life? You cannot even guarantee your own happiness and blessings in your life. So how can you guarantee other people's happiness? Can brothers and sisters be reliable? Can friends, superiors, and subordinates be reliable? Even Chairman Mao is not reliable, not mentioning any other people. Am I, Xiefeng, reliable? No. We have today's homeland only because we are walking on the way of the greatest creator. This is a blessing from the greatest creator, the result of Tao's operation, not because Xiefeng has any special abilities or talents. Question. Then who can be relied upon? Answer. Only the greatest creator and walking the way of the greatest creator. As a person works and behaves by following the will of and the way of the greatest creator, that is the best policy.
人类新生活模式样板已经建成。
The new life mode of human being has come into being. Shuifeng. August 23rd, 2012. The ideal life mode once dreamed of by many saints, as what the ancient Greek philosopher Plato wrote in his dialogue The Republic, the one world Confucius was after, and the communist society Karl Marx pursued, has been practiced and realized now on Earth. This new life mode is beyond what Plato, Confucius, and Karl Marx and other saints had imagined and described. It was born in a completely new way, and this brand new life mode is just the idyllic the second home founded by Life Chanyuan. The life mode of the second home is totally different from the traditional life mode we are familiar with. Many saints' dream has completely come true. People live in a worry-free environment where troubles, bitterness, anxiety, desperation, and fear are reduced to the minimum, and so are conflict, fight, and crimes. An all-around harmonious and sustainable coexistence between man and nature, man and society, man and man is realized. Our 3.5 years practice and experiences have fully proved that this new life mode is more than just successful. It will be developing continuously and healthily and have an extremely bright future. We have now total 180 residents living in our community, which includes 13 kids. The age of the oldest resident is 87 while the youngest is only 3. 180 people live in 3 branches separately. The biggest branch has 72 residents, and the smallest has 45 people. Most people are from rural areas of China. The education level of majority is middle school. More than half of the residents are female. Middle-aged are the majority, and the average age in the community is around 40. The second home implements a paradise management mode. The gist of the mode is that no management is the best management. This mode stimulates and motivates the qualities of sincerity, kindness, beauty, love, faithfulness, and honesty in human nature, and creating a proper external atmosphere to bring those qualities in full play. There is no management team or leaders. People do their work voluntarily. There isn't any office. No other meeting or gathering are held except Monday. Wednesday nights are the time for group study, and Friday night is the time for everyone to gather to discuss and solve any issue that may arise in day-to-day lives. Everyone here is first and foremost an ordinary worker. There used to be a branch manager to organize the running of the branch, and now this role has been canceled. Each branch only has a senior, whose role is neither manager or leader, but just a coordinator to arrange and coordinate branch's daily activities. There is no more traditional family in the second home. Husband and wife relationship pattern is broken automatically when the couple start living in the community and they become independent of each other. The nurture and education of kids, the care of the senior residents will be the pure responsibility of the community, which means that children are no more responsible for the well-being of their parents and vice versa. All the jobs in the second home are professionalized and specialized, big or small. There will one person in charge. The chef only does cooking. The washer only does the laundry, the cleaner only does cleaning, the gardener only does gardening, and chicken raiser only cares chicken, vegetable growers only grow veggies, and the one who cultivate economic crop just focus on making sure the crop grow well, builders only do the building and maintenance work. The purchaser, driver, hairdresser, healthcarer, and tailor will be doing other jobs when they finish the main task. Homeschool teacher is a part-time job, so teachers are involved in manual labor when they are free. The main income of the second home comes from the donation of Chanyuan Celestials. We grow a variety of vegetables ourselves. Now the supply can meet the demand of 180 residents. Every day we can get altogether about 300 chicken and duck eggs from 3 branches, which ensure that everybody could have at least 1 egg each day. The meals are mainly veggies, but we do have meat occasionally. This year we have started the business of growing monk fruits, and now we have total 10,000 monk fruit trees under management. If everything goes well, a yearly 1,000 RMB net profit can be expected. The officers from Public Security Department of Yunnan Province, China, where the community is located, once said after visiting our community, "What you have done is too ideal, and we doubt how you people can keep and develop this life mode. But I'm very sure that the economic development of the second home will not have any problem, and we can definitely become self-sufficient and eventually live in abundance. The reality will prove it after 3 years." In the 3 years' time since the second home was founded, our community never had any form of attrition and conflict tie-on with our neighbors. Actually, we keep a very friendly relationship with the neighbors. Internally, the community residents never had any quarrel, argument, abuse, or fight, and everyone get well along with other people. Also, violations of the law and crimes are not seen here at all. Gambling, drug taking, prostitution, and stealing have totally disappeared. The environment of 3 branches has become very idyllic. All branches are surrounded by green mountains and clean streams. Luxuriant plants and trees are everywhere. We have a variety of fruit trees, especially pear, bayberry, peach, and chestnut trees, which produce fruits more than our residents could consume. Over 70 different kinds of flowers are blossoming in all seasons. Our home is clean and tidy everywhere, especially the kitchen, dining room, and public toilets. You can hardly see any stain. The crisscrossed brick or cement walkways in the orchards extend in all directions. In our 4th branch, brooks babbling can be heard everywhere, and the Crystal Mountain spring flows through the front of everyone's bedroom and the vegetable garden. Rooms of all branches are managed according to hotel standard. All rooms are equipped with a wooden bed, a desk, a chair, and a wardrobe. Each of the bedrooms later built by ourselves has a spacious bathroom and a closet. All rooms have 2 windows which allow enough sunlight and fresh air to come in. We also built an entertainment hall which can hold 300 people and a 5-star level dining hall which can seat 150 people. Except that every a few kids are still live together in one big room. Other people all have a separate bedroom. The ideal of no one pockets anything found on the road, doors are not bolted at night, has been completely realized in the second home. There never be any stealing case in 3 years. Nobody ever lost anything, and people can keep their door open at daytime and leave the door unlocked at night. Breaking into other people's bedroom without permission at night is rarely heard. The meal standard in our community is above worldwide average. The main course is usually rice, steamed bread, steamed stuffed bun, twisted roll, noodle, Chinese dumpling, and spring onion pancake. The vegetables include cabbage, Chinese cabbage, carrot, eggplant, cucumber, capsicum, tomato, potato, cauliflower, chives, celery, string beans, and melons. The meal is usually served in buffet style. Everybody can take what they need, and the food supply is always enough to feed all. All residents own nothing but have everything. All properties belong to everyone. Individual no more own any property or money. No one is treated specially. All people go to the dining room for food. The storeroom is open for everyone to take what they need for daily life. There is no distribution and supervision. Clothing can be purchased on demand. The basic policy is as long as the goods is not luxurious and wasteful, it will be definitely purchased to meet the need of requester. Currency is no more useful inside the community, and money transaction also disappeared between people. The second home basically does not have any celebration activity except the Mid-Autumn Festival and Chinese New Year. We don't celebrate birthday too. Gifting between people is not allowed. The second home try to prevent any religious ceremony and political activity. We don't have church, temple, mosque, preaching hall, meditation room and office. We don't have any form of worshiping, for example, burning incense and bowing to an idol. Therefore, we don't hang up the image of any saint, master, and Buddha. Everything comes from nature and should be returned to nature. So artificial stuff is unwanted in our home. Moreover, everyone is independent of others, and no one should impose his will upon other people. The cultural and recreational activities in our community is full of variety. In addition to the monthly big party, we play games and have entertainment anywhere when we feel like to. Game ideas are so many and varied that we always have new and exciting one to play. Singing, dancing, and poetry recitation are the main theme of entertainment. All residents can participate in these activities so that their talents and skills can be displayed and developed. Our home is short of musical talents now, but we prepare to buy some instruments so that we can enjoy the beautiful music of flute, piano, Chinese pipa, and trumpet all round our home in future. We don't have a reading room and only have small volume of books right now, so we plan to set up a library in each branch, and most books will be related to philosophy and natural science. The second home has a home school for 13 kids study purpose, and their level is now at 4th, 5th, and 6th grade of primary school. We have classroom, study desk, blackboard, and a big playground. The educational materials are the same as what people use in public schools, which meet the requirement of the Chinese Department of Education. The teachers are chosen from residents who are either used to be a professional teacher or have completed tertiary education. In addition to the basic subjects, we also added the subjects of how to behave as a competent and useful man, and the relationship between human being and the greatest creator, God. Kids are also required to do some manual labor according to each one's ability, for example, cleaning bedroom and yard, pulling weeds. English language is also a major subject in primary school education. Each does his best according to his ability and asks for what he need, is a key policy in our home. Anyone, even if he is 800 years old, as long as he is still fit, should assume a job according to his ability. Therefore, there is no such saying as retired in our home. Nobody is an idle and parasite. Everyone has something to do. In fact, working has become the most basic and enjoyable daily activity for everyone. It almost turned to a form of game. People feel like they are punished if they are not allowed to work. In the second home, if someone has caused any hurt to others mentally, spiritually, or physically, this person will be dismissed immediately from the community. The love between man and woman is absolutely free in the second home. Nobody should interfere a couple in love, but group sex is prohibited. Also, we implement the value, gents come second. Ladies are always first and should be respected for no reason. So man can never be active trying to seduce a woman, and any form of sex harassment is strictly prohibited. Breaking into a woman's room without her permission is not permitted. Moreover, in our home, there is no marriage. One would be relocated to a different branch every 3 years. Therefore, permanent relationship between man and woman is almost impossible. If a man and a woman fall into love and don't want to be set apart, they can choose to return to the secular world, get married, and form a family like what people do in traditional society. Currently, the situation of the second home can be described as excellent, and it is developing towards the direction of more and more perfect, more and more ideal. We have set a successful example for all human beings. If everyone on this earth lives according to this new life mode, undoubtedly, this world will become a heaven, an Eden. The earth will no longer have wars, conflicts, crimes, famine, and crisis, but enter into a new peaceful era. Man and man, man and society, man and natural will coexist very harmoniously. Every single person of human beings, no matter which country, ethnic group, religious and political party you come from, no matter you are rich or poor, no matter you are big or small, please note that the second home will not develop to any kind of political party which might cause trouble and harm to you. I believe that if you are interested in this new life mode, if you come live in our community, you won't lose anything. On the contrary, you will surely get more than you can imagine. I sincerely hope that you will pay close attention to us, and we warmly welcome journalists or visiting groups to come to our home to experience this exciting lifestyle. Note: Chanyuan Celestials are those people who like the above lifestyle and are willing to give up all their possession in secular world and dedicate their life to initiating a heavenly-like brand new era. They are the ones who are brave enough to pursue the highest state of life, which is a journey on the earth full of fun, happiness, freedom, and joy.
一个不自由的人是不会明白道德的。
One who takes no liberty will not understand morality. Xiefeng. July 9th, 2017. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. First of all, the morality of which I speak here are Tao and virtue. Tao is the consciousness of the greatest creator and the synthesis of all laws and rules of the universe. Virtue is the level of which life is consistent with Tao, and as with love, it is only a state of life. Liberty is a state of mind with neither selfishness nor ego, and without worry, fear, responsibility, or obligation, but rather is acting freely and being unfettered. Without it, we can neither enjoy life nor understand the meanings of Tao and virtue. In other words, those who take no liberty remain confused. Very few articles are worth reading. All those that were written by authors who have taken no liberty will cheat and deceive their readers. As the 5 blind men who patted parts of an elephant, they will concentrate on details while not understanding the whole picture. Therefore, rather than reading textbooks, it is better to read the book without words. Who are some of the people who take no liberty? Leaders of governments are surely not free, nor are any of their officials who serve them. Masters of commerce who administer obligations and responsibilities to their disciples are not free, nor is anyone who lives for money, power, status, or fame. Those who own wealth and property are not free, nor are those who sleep all night only to work hard all day. Those who are fighting for some ideal and those living in traditional marriages and families are certainly not free. Finally, those who fear death and those who are inflexible in any way are deservedly not free. Actually, liberty is the quality of life in heaven. There are very few free people in the mortal world, and this is why history is so full of pain, confusion, misfortunes, struggles, contradictions, and all too often, total chaos and disorder.
茫茫苦海，悲剧人生。
The vast sea of bitterness and the tragic life. Xiefeng. Edited by Care. Being born into this world is tantamount to falling into a boundless sea of bitterness. How many ideals come to naught? How many hopes turn into despair? How much frustration? How many tears from the heart run on and on all day long? How much unspeakable bitterness follows us, year after year. Each year, 1 million people around the world commit suicide, and the number who try but fail is too high to count. Why? Because of life's bitterness. In this vast sea of bitterness, the shore is ever elusive. The endless suffering is too hard to explain. When will this pain ever stop? The suicides of 1 million people is only the tip of the iceberg or a drop of water in the vast sea. Much more pain is hidden under placid surfaces like volcanoes before they erupt. Hidden behind each smiling face are unspeakable hardships and sorrow. On the worried looks of the frowns and brows there is much sadness and regret. Your social status rises, yet your suffering increases. You make more money, yet your pain increases each day. You finally have no worries about food, clothing, accommodations, or travel, yet you worry more. Your level of education includes a high degree and your knowledge is admirable, yet rather than sweeping your troubles away, they squeeze you like a constrictor snake. You endure in silence, struggle hard, wait for a long time, eagerly look forward to the dawn's light. But no dawn of life appears on the distant horizon, only an immeasurable abyss. As a life guide and a life guide, I know where the shore of freedom and blessing is. I understand how to leave this boundless sea of bitterness. I can guide you to heaven, but you neither believe me nor trust me. You are full of doubts, and even some of you who did follow me could not follow the route map I designed for you strictly enough. You followed my shadow, but not my spiritual light. In this way, you could never escape from life's pain and troubles or reach the ideal shore. Where is your pain? Your pain and all your bitterness are in your dedicated life program, your greed and selfishness, your lust, your possessions, your attempts to control and possess others, your envy, complaints, and comparisons, and in your passivity and pessimism. In other words, it is in your ignorance and savagery.
Committing suicide.
Do you want to quench your thirst with a tall glass of poison? That would only lead you straight to hell. It is definitely not the right way to escape from your suffering. The best ways to get rid of your life afflictions are to carry on your torture stake, but to follow each step along my route map. As long as you strictly follow my route map, the farther you walk, the more you will begin to feel relaxed, the brighter it will be, the less pain you will feel, and the nearer you will be to heaven. If you do not follow my route map strictly, your pain and suffering will never end. You can either hold on to your original way, or you can choose a different path, but I can tell you that this is the only way to heaven. If you do not believe me, then just wait for your experience to answer. Never assume that you can escape from the immense darkness on your own as you walk ahead. Without my guidance, you can never leave the affliction of the cave of the silver web, nor can you ever escape from the immense darkness.
雪峰向贪官污吏黑恶势力的宣言书。
Xiefeng's Manifesto. To corrupt officers and dark power. Xiefeng. December 3rd, 2013. Translated by Tsong Long. In today's peaceful China, there still exists a group of corrupt officers and dark power who violate laws, bully the kind, confounding black and white, and stop at no evils even in broad daylight. We have walked to today and have suffered enough bullying and humiliation from corrupt officers and dark power. We cannot stand it anymore, and I hereby want to declare war on you. Numerous people have sacrificed their precious life in order to realize the loftiest ideal and for the interests of all humanity. Their blood cannot be paid in vain. Today, I want to take over previous martyrs' unfulfilled cause and will fight to death for this great ideal. Today, we have realized the absolute communal lifestyle within a small group, and you want to nip this flower in the bud, but I tell you, it is impossible. You have used despicable means by threat, intimidation, and slander, damaged the road, cut the power and telephone cables, broke the water pipe, grabbed the camera by force, shoved young kids, and harassed community members at night, to forcibly occupy the home of many kind and diligent people and order them to move out. You use your power to commend the Public Security Bureau, including the Domestic Safeguard Team, to create difficulties and make sufferings to our souls. You threat and intimidated the landlords to terminate our lease contracts and stated that you wanted to drive the entire community away from Yunnan province within the next 3 to 4 months. You have committed innumerable crimes and lost your humanity. You people intruded into our home and searched our rooms and acted viciously. We were around by you. You intimidated local villagers to besiege us and forced your way in. You took pictures and videos arbitrarily and deleted the data in our camera by force. You came without presenting any documents or identifications, but only give verbal orders. Are you people different from bandits? Because we are a group of people who voluntarily gather together to have a communal way of life, and we did not register with any relevant government departments, you then stated that we are an illegal organization. I want to ask you, what is the meaning of illegal? We never violate Chinese laws or commit crimes, and we never harm nature, the society, and people's life. Is it illegal that we choose a communal lifestyle? Are your behaviors legal? You organized 40 people to besiege us for almost 2 weeks and forcibly occupied our home without giving us any compensation. What kind of people are you? You came as a team of about 16 police officers just to request some of us to get temporary residence permits. What do you want to do? You want to show us your strong power? President Mr. Xi Jinping has told you to value the initiative of masses. The third plenary session of 18 Central Committee has approved that CPC should encourage the initiative of masses. Did you not hear it, or you do not understand it? Do you want to go against with Central Chinese government? You think that you can do anything as long as you are in authority. You think you can bully people and prey on them arbitrarily. You think that we are afraid of you. Let me tell you, you are wrong. Civilization is never afraid of barbarism. The good is never afraid of the evil. Brightness is never afraid of darkness. The masses are never afraid of corrupt officers. We will never succumb to your despotic power. No way. How long can you continue this reckless attack? Let us see whether you will make us die of famine or short of resources. Let me tell you, your last day is coming soon. You are making your last crazy attacks and death struggles. God's mill grinds slow but sure. Your wickedness will be unable to escape the net of justice. 不要试图控制别人, do not attempt to control others. 说风 March 5, 2011. Who should be controlled? Answer: livestock, poultry, idiots, maniac, mental patients, criminals. Who will control them? Answer: feedlot, mental health hospital, penitentiary, prisons, and the staff members of these institutions. Apart from those mentioned above, man should not seek to exercise control over each other, with the exception of special organizations. Men should establish an equal, friendly, mutually respecting, and honorable relation. There should not be any attempt of mutual control. If you attempt to control others, then you regard them as animals, or idiots, or maniacs, or prisoners. The slave owners in the age of slavery controlled slaves. Thus, when some people want to control others, they are treating them like slaves, or they are regarding themselves as the jailers and the people they attempt to control as the criminals. In the normal society, man should not attempt to control each other. If so, you are despising and trampling on human right and human dignity, and actually you are committing a crime. It can be said without exaggeration that a person who wants to control another normal person is a criminal, or a maniac who is inflicted with mental disorder. We should ponder over it and be vigilant if the above definition has its meaning and value. Most couples are trying to control each other, either in economy, emotion, body, thought, spirit, or soul. In one word, there are traces of mutual control between husband and wife. In this sense, most of husbands or wives are in essence criminals or mental patients. Of course, a criminal will not regard himself as a criminal, and a mental patient will never think of himself as a mental patient. Once he regards himself as a mental patient, he is not a mental patient anymore, but a normal person. There are also mutual controls between lovers and sweeties. Therefore, infatuated lovers or sweeties also smack of mental disorders. Some parents who still exercise control over their grown-up children are actually criminals. Some children who exercise control over their parents are not only criminals, but also mental patients. In the normal organizations, it is normal for the higher authorities to control the lower authorities, but it is abnormal for one to be controlled by his superior, because such superiors are taking their inferiors as their slaves and taking themselves as the masters. Any phenomenon of controlling or being controlled is absolutely abnormal, no matter whether it occurs in the politics, religion, culture, production, or cultivation and refinery, or in life and family and social intercourse, with the exception of those cases where control is necessary. The person who exercises control is either a criminal or a mental patient. Controlling others is actually paramount to depriving other people's freedom. Poultry and livestock have no freedom. Maniacs or mental patients should be monitored during their illness. Prisoners should not enjoy freedom during their service in the prison. A normal person should enjoy complete freedom as endowed by the Constitution. Aren't we criminals if we deprive a normal person of his freedom? If we are not criminals, then we must have suffered some mental problems. Therefore, we must keep it in mind that we should never attempt to control anyone, especially the Chanyuan Celestials. We should never control others, but must fully respect their freedom. In the home without marriage and family of life of Chanyuan, there should never be the control of man by man, which is one of the main elements of holographic management. When we are currently controlling other people, we must be vigilant. We are either criminals or mental patients. When we try to control others, we must watch out, because we are heading for crimes or schizophrenia.
千万不要试图改变别人。
Do not in any way try to change others. Shuefeng, March 5, 2011. The most complicated and most troublesome relation in the world is that between husband and wife. The most saddening and most disappointing relation is that between husband and wife. And the most yearned and most despairing relation in the world is also that between husband and wife. To maintain this relationship, one should be neither too soft nor too tough, neither too close nor too estranged, neither too powerful nor too weak, and neither too indifferent nor too intimate. This relation may look as elusive as thin strands of silk, as hot as fire, and as cold as ice. It is almost impossible to straighten out what is entwined in the relation, and very difficult to explain it in a clear and logical manner. The relation between husband and wife begins with a comedy but ends in tragedy. Don't be fooled by the report of many couples that have developed love in childhood and sustained it all through their lives. This is only an appearance put up under the control and check of various factors. The marriage and the relation between husband and wife is in essence a tragedy. The source of the tragedy is not the lack of money or poverty, is not wealth and rank, is not parents or children, and is not the involvement of a third party or the differences in characters and interests. The source of the problem lies in the fact that both husband and wife intends to change the other party according to their own values and wills. The wife always want to change the husband according to her own values and wills, while the husband always want to impose his own values on the wife. What is the result? Neither the husband nor the wife can change each other, and the so-called change is only temporary compromise and suppression in consideration of various factors. The desire to change others is the beginning of tragedy. Let's ask people who have been husbands and wives, or are now husbands and wives, if they have changes the other party. The more you want to change the other party, the worse the relations between husband and wife will be. Don't you think so? Why is the desire to change others the beginning of tragedy? It is more difficult to change man's natural disposition than to change rivers and mountains. It is a painful thing to change one's natural disposition, not only for the person that asks others to change, but also for the person asked to make the change. It is extremely arduous, painful, and also perverse to nature to change rats into cats, cats into dogs, dogs into men, and man into another self. In addition, because of each individual's predestined relations and evolutions in previous life and transmigration, people each have their own peculiar track of life and life, which is a plot of screenplay that has already been written in their own life. That we want to change others is actually paramount to changing the track of other people's life and going against Tao. The result is just imaginable. All the effort can only prove to be futile and will lead to tragedy. If husband and wife who are mutually related in interests and deeply in love with each other cannot change each other, then it would be more difficult for people in other interpersonal relations to change each other. The parents attempt to change their children and vice versa. The friends, neighbor, and relatives attempt to change each other. All these will end in tragedy. Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, and Celestial Lao Tzu have left us with many teachings, but they had never attempted to change anybody. They were simply reasoning with us and offering guidance to us. Only devils and their offspring desire to force their will upon others. Men should never attempt to do anything to change others or do anything that may be a strain on energy and does not produce good results. Man should not do anything impossible, should not cause tragedy to himself or other people, especially between husband and wife, between parents and children, and between friends and lovers, between masters and disciples, and between teachers and students. The best approach is, I respect your will, your choice, your hobbies and interests, and your character. If we are compatible with each other, we can get along with each other happily and joyfully. If not, we just go our different ways. If we vary too greatly in views, we can break up in good manners and follow our respective ways. Do not attempt to change any other creatures and lives, including man, of course, except yourself. The more intimate the relations between men are, the more important it is for them to respect each other's will and character. Be sure not to try to change the other party with your own values and outlook on life. Do not attempt to impose your own will into the other party, otherwise, you may become estranged and part company, each going your different ways, no matter how close you have been to each other. How can we prove that we ourselves are right? There is no way to prove. What seems to be a misfortune may be a blessing in disguise. Even if someone has suffered a misfortune, how we can know the meaning and value implied in such misfortune? How can we know that such misfortune may actually turn out to be a blessing? The conclusion: do not try to change or transform the other, and just change yourself if you cannot endure. In this way, you will not create tragedy, and in this way, you may enjoy more intimate relations. In this way, you will have broader space to utilize your talents. In this way, you will have the mien of a celestial being.
人类生存岌岌可危，急需改变生产和生活模式。
The survival of mankind is in great danger. The production and life model needs to change immediately. Xiefeng. August 1 SD 2017. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. According to a report that was released on August 1 Staff 2017 in the Worldwide Fund for Nature, people would have consumed the full year's supply of renewable resources for 2017 by August 2 2017. The report pointed out that, by August 2nd of this year, we will have used more natural resources than the Earth can replace during the entire year. This means that during the first 7 months, our carbon emissions have been more than all the oceans and forests will recycle for the full year, and that we will have caught more fish, cut down more trees, harvested more food, and used more water than the Earth will replace during the year, so that during the following 5 months, we will be borrowing or overdrawing the benefits that were to have been for future years and offsprings. In April of 2009, I warned everyone that the so-called end of the world in 2012 would not happen, and that rather than doomsday coming suddenly, it will happen gradually to and fro, with more and more serious natural climatic changes. Alas, little changes happen gradually, but great changes take place instantly, and natural climate changes over the past 8 years have fully demonstrated my predictions. If the human race as a whole fail to awaken to this last-minute danger and do not change our traditional production and life model immediately, the entire natural ecology will collapse within 15 to 20 20 years, and the human race will all be in great danger. During the last 8 years, Life Genuine has been actively engaged in the exploration of and experimentation with a new production and life model, and has found a way to solve the conflict between natural resources and human consumption. Once again, I give warning to everyone today that we urgently need to live according to the production and life model created by Life Genuine. If we do not act now, it will be too late.
为自己活，不要为谁活。
Live for yourself, never for others. Xiefeng. April 30th, 2010. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. The most selfish people in the world are those who claim to live for others. The most selfless people in the world are those who admit to living for themselves. The greatest creator creates every life as an individual, endowed with a unique appearance and nature, free will, and a full physiological system. Each individual is given a mission that is uniquely different from all others. As individuals, each of us has our own unique fate and trajectory of life and of human life. It is only when there are diverse, rich, and varied lives that a fantastic world can be constituted. It is the greatest creator's arrangement that every life should live out its own nature. It is only with great selfishness and lack of mercy that we repress others' natures or deprive their natures by persuading or forcing them to live according to our own will, and that is totally against the way of the greatest creator. As long as everyone lives only for themselves, everything will be in order, and each of us can live out our own style and live easily. Whoever does not live for themselves but attempts to live for others will exhaust not only themselves, but also those who are served by them. The value of Life Genuine is to be responsible to the greatest creator and for yourself. Everyone should live for and be responsible for themselves, as it is only when they live completely this way that all of humanity will be in a state of harmony. If everyone lives for others and tries to be responsible for others, all of humanity will be chaotic and under stress. In fact, there is not a single person in the world who lives entirely for others. Even the greatest prophets, including Christ Jesus and Buddha Sakyamuni, lived for themselves more than for others. They served objectively for others, but subjectively for their own achievements and for completing their missions. I, Xiefeng, the founder of Life Genuine, was motivated to start Life Genuine to lead humanity out of misery, to create the Life Genuine era for all people, on the surface for the human race, but intrinsically for my own benefit. The sages recognize selfishness for its selflessness. The more selfish I am, the more I can achieve and realize myself, and the more I can be a true self and lose myself. In a word, I live for myself and I am responsible for myself, but I never live for others, never bother with others, and never answer for others. Certainly, I do not need others to live for me, bother about me, or answer for me. Every parent gives birth to and raises children for themselves, definitely not for the sake of their children. Any parent who truly does everything with regard for their children would never bring children into this world of suffering with neither the consent of, nor any agreement from those children. Taking care of and raising children and creating conditions to ensure that they receive proper education is for the children on the surface, but is essentially for the parents in order to satisfy their own desires to obtain what they need from those children. These desires include feelings of parenthood, glorification and illumination of their ancestors, passing on their genetic legacy, the need for support when they become aged and unable to work, and so on. Some children do not want to get married. However, their parents will persuade and coerce them to. What is the purpose? It is entirely for the parents themselves. Anyone who forces others and who imposes their will upon others is completely selfish and in no way lives for others. The more they claim, "All that I do is for you," the more their extremely selfish and purposeful, concealed motives become revealed. No matter how deeply a husband and wife might love each other, it is essentially for each of themselves. Does any husband live completely for his wife? Does any wife live completely for her husband? Is there any? Of course not. Is there any king, president, or chairman who lives completely for their people? Of course not. In order to gain favor from their constituents so they can consolidate their power and maintain their positions, they have to gain favor from the people, and the more favor they gain, the more they benefit themselves. This is really quite a tacit understanding. When anyone says, "I do this completely for the sake of the people, not for mine," or "I do this completely for your own good, not for mine," they are attempting to fool the public. They are looking for scapegoats to hide their own inabilities, passing on their own incompetencies and irresponsibilities, conspiring to control others, attempting to impose their wills and wishes upon others, mistreating others in spirit and soul, increasing the burdens of spirit and soul on others by arousing their emotions, and are shirking their responsibilities. A good person should seek the truth from the facts with honesty, but with neither deception nor falsehood. Everyone lives for themselves and is responsible for themselves. Never repeatedly claim that you live for others or are responsible for others. When anyone claims, "I did this for your own good," it can be concluded that they are a liar and that they are lying. When someone says, "I live for you," it can be concluded that they are incompetent, greedy, selfish, and merciless. Someone says, "I want to deliver all beings from torment." I say, bullshit. Why do you want to deliver all beings from torment? Everything is running in Tao. Need you not also?
只有共产主义才能救人类。
Only communism can save mankind. Xiefeng. August 8, 2016. Translated by Zonglong, Ailian, and Tongxin, edited by Kair. Capitalism has achieved great progress for humanity. Transportation and communication are very convenient and produce is abundant in today's society. The Earth supports 7 billion people, mainly as a result of capitalistic development. Without capitalism, today's civilization could not exist. Capitalists are the elite of society. They have generated much material wealth for people and resolved unemployment issues for a large number of people. Without capitalists, many more of us would be very poor and suffer underdeveloped and empty lives. However, the development of capitalism has gradually revealed three major issues that it cannot overcome: the unequal distribution of wealth, the overconsumption of natural resources, the further intensified trend of selfishness and greed from human nature. As reported by CNS New York on January 20, 2015, the top 1% of the wealthiest people in the world possess 48% of the world's wealth, the following 19% possess 46%, and the bottom 80% only possess 5.5%. The unequal distribution of wealth will result in a series of social problems such as a desire to be wealthy quickly and its resulting illegal activities, hostility against the wealthy, production of counterfeit goods, seizing of resources, illicit drug production and trafficking, jealousy and struggling, stealing, cheating, blackmailing, exploiting, gambling, speculating, and corrupting because of feeling psychologically unbalanced, violence. All these problems cannot be resolved through capitalistic production relations. The second issue caused by the development of capitalism is the unreasonable and huge consumption of natural resources. Professor Mohan Munasingh, the vice chair of the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and a board member of Green Cross International, said that by 2012, we had overdrawn 50% of the sustainable natural resources of the Earth, and he predicted that if we continue pursuing our current lifestyles, we would need those of 2 planets to meet the demand of the total population by 2030. Not only is the excessive consumption of natural resources unable to support a sustainable future, but it will also lead to a series of natural disasters. The deterioration of the natural environment in recent years is very evident. Global warming, drought and drying riverbeds, floods, hurricanes, thawing permafrost, and the disappearing Arctic ice cap as ancient glaciers melt and result in a rise of sea level, destruction of biodiversity, and polluted rivers, sea, and soil, to name just a few. Even more severe are the natural disasters which are aggravating, not by a small percentage, but rather at a geometric rate. Due to this climate change, it is possible that within the next 15 years, many places on Earth will become uninhabitable. The number of refugees caused by natural disasters could reach hundreds of millions, which could lead to social upheavals. And if that happens, the United Nations and the existing governments will be impotent. The nature and development of capitalism are based on selfishness and greed. The ultimate purpose of the efforts of almost everyone is to get more resources and wealth for themselves. In order to meet their growing and changing desires, people are working hard day and night in order to acquire more wealth and resources, which in turn aggravates the selfish consciousness and actions. Excessive development and consumption driven by endless desires of human beings are the core drivers that lead to pollution, global warming, destruction of biodiversity, and other natural disasters. Stephen Hawking once predicted that selfishness will lead to the destruction of the human race within 200 years. Except for the three big conditions of inequitable distribution of wealth, uncontrolled consumption of natural resources, and selfishness and greed, others such as financial turmoil, massive global military spending, fast population growth, huge numbers of civil servants in each country, and large amounts of waste, are problems that cannot be overcome within our current system. Stephen Hawking predicted that the end could come within 200 years. It is becoming clear, however, that if these issues are not resolved soon and if things continue to deteriorate, it could very likely happen within less than 100 years. The U.S. is the most developed capitalist country in the world, and its consumption of natural resources is so large that, according to Singapore's newspaper Zaobao, if everyone in the world consumed what the average American does, we would need 5 Earths to meet their demand. In addition, according to a report in the American Aerospace Daily of April 11, 2016, data from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI, showed that global defense spending in 2015 totaled about $1.7 trillion, and the top spender, the U.S., reached $596 billion. Given the reality of the U.S.'s consumption of natural resources and its military spending, natural resources will surely become depleted eventually as a result of the development of capitalism. A country whose population accounts for less than 4% of the world's total is consuming 25% of the Earth's resources. If every country were to do as the U.S. does, humanity would surely face a dead end. Population expansion is a major world problem. According to statistics from the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, the world population is increasing at a rate of 80 million people per year. A recent report from the UN forecasts that the world population will increase from 7.3 billion in 2015 to 8.1 billion by 2023 and to 9.6 billion by 2050. With these increases of population and with the rise of people's consumption levels, the demand for natural resources will also increase. For example, to meet the demands of 73 million people for food, clothing, accommodations, and transportation, etc., a huge amount of natural resources must be consumed. The resources of our Earth are limited. However, the increase of population is unlimited. We have limited water and land resources, so how are we going to handle this challenge? If we do not have a feasible plan to control the population growth or change our lifestyles and production modes, one day the resources will become exhausted and humanity's doom will not be much farther away, no matter how many UN meetings are held or what efforts the governments of each country take. We are facing a huge crisis. The best way to overcome this is to gradually move toward a communist lifestyle. In other words, only communism can save the world. Communism is not just a new lifestyle and a new production system. It is a noble faith. It is the essence of the thoughts of many saints and sages ever since the ancient Greek philosopher Plato wrote of an ideal lifestyle that is desired by ordinary citizens. Communism represents universal values. Social issues such as racial discrimination, religious disputes, state rivalries, national extremes, distribution inequity, selfishness and greed, resource waste, territorial disputes, population growth, huge military spending, government overstaffing and corruption, and high volumes of waste can all be resolved and eliminated through communism. In addition, communism can purify our souls and sublimate our characters, and it will not only make materially abundant lives possible, but the state of global happiness will be elevated as well. The communism I discuss here is very different from the communism described by Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin, and Mao Zedong. The way it realizes the communist production relationship has essential differences from the ways carried out by Lenin and Mao. Please do not jump to the conclusion that the communism I mentioned is like your previous experience and perception of the term. To differentiate between our communism and that described by Marx, Lenin, and Mao, we temporarily name ours Xiafeng-style communism. Xiafeng-style communism has been running for over 7 years, and it has proven through practice that Xiafeng-style communism can be fully realized under current conditions. Xiafeng-style communism can resolve the crises of unequal distribution of wealth, intemperate consumption of natural resources, population expansions, financial storms, huge military expenditures, overstaffed civil offices, and disposal problems. Moreover, Xiafeng-style communism will bring an unprecedented bright life to the human condition. Xiafeng-style communism has realized the following after 7 years' practice. From each according to his ability, and to each according to his needs. Everyone has something to do and a place in which to live, and people never need to worry about making a living. Everyone does their best according to their talents and abilities. No one pockets anything found on the road, and doors are unbolted at night. There is no stealing, cheating, robbing, or concealing of goods. There is no marriage and no family. Also, there is no currency within the community. Love is free, but there is no sexual promiscuity or venereal disease. The environment of the community is beautiful, clean, and orderly. Nobody has personal belongings. Everything belongs to the community and everyone is selfless. Illness is reduced to the minimum and the average expenditure on medical care is less than UN 200 RMB per person per year. If we live this lifestyle, aging would slow down and the average lifespan would exceed 80 years. However, our ideal is for everyone to live up to 120 years and to die peacefully and without illness. The young will get a proper education and the old will be well taken care of. Rearing and educating children will no longer be their parents' responsibility. There will be no widows or empty nest elderly. Also, there would be no undisciplined or neglected children. People live in harmony with others, with society, and with nature. Over the last 7 years, Xiafeng-style communism has never had any conflicts with neighbors or with the outside world. We have never hurt little animals such as birds, snakes, or fish. We have planted many trees and flowers which not only beautified the environment, but also brought vigor and vitality to our community. Over the last 7 years, no crime has taken place within our community, and fighting is extremely rare. We use no chemical fertilizers or pesticides in our fields. Human and animal wastes are well composted into fertilizer. Also, we separate rubbish from waste and purify the sewage. Zero pollution has been nearly accomplished. We have no administrators, no leaders, and no offices within the community. Also, there is no command or force, and everyone consciously and generously infuses himself into his work because every member is also a laborer. We have no religious rituals or activities, and there are no spells or idolatry. In all affairs, whether big or small, the responsibilities are well divided. Traditional heavy housework has been eliminated. We only celebrate festivals of nature, such as Chinese Spring Festival, Qingming Festival, Dragon Boat Festival, and Mid-Autumn Festival. Apart from natural festivals, we celebrate no other festivals, and we do not celebrate individual birthdays. We keep communications open with the outside world. Everyone communicates with the outside world by telephone, email, and WeChat Messenger. Strict screening is required before anyone may enter our community, but anyone can leave the community freely. We are self-sufficient. We are not supported from the outside world, nor do we need to be. We do not take capitalist wealth. Every member relocates to a new facility every 3 years to avoid aesthetic fatigue, forming cliques, or being trapped into relationships. All the resources are highly shared and utilized. For example, 150 people within our community share 5 cars. However, under capitalism, 4 people typically share a car. In this case, 150 people save 32 cars. We can enjoy very good lives with only 1/4 of the resources needed in a capitalist system. There are no rules and no discipline with punishment. We comply only with the natural and civilization Tao. A strong credit system has been established. Those who are dishonest will fail, as in the parable of the long spoons. Birth control is well carried out. No children have been born in our community during the last 7 years. One reason for this is to comply with national laws and regulations, and another is to lighten the burden of the nearly fully loaded planet. The funeral system of Xiefeng-style communism is such that no matter who passes on, only simple farewell ceremonies are held. Their bodies are committed to fire, and their ashes are sprinkled to nature. We have no graves, mausoleums, or urns, ash boxes. If measured by GPI, Genuine Progress Indicator, HDI, Human Development Index, and NHI, National Happiness Index, it goes without saying that the Xiefeng-style communist community is at the forefront. If the whole world can do the above, all humanity's crises would disappear quickly. Here, I want to say to all the capitalists that Xiefeng-style communism would not take your wealth away. To the contrary, it would bring you safety and stability. It would provide you with soulfulness and spiritual abundance. We human beings not only need financial well-being, but also soulful and spiritual well-being. Xiefeng-style communism helps people to achieve their highest levels of self-transcendence. As stated in Abraham Maslow's demand theory, you would lead very good lives. If you do not carry out communism, there will be no escape from the poor, because when a huge crisis comes, your armies and police will not be able to protect you. The wealth you possess will not save you. Here I want to say to the head of each country's government that Xiefeng-style communism would not interfere with your management, nor would it threaten or harm to your powers and positions. We are neither a religious group nor a political group. We are just a completely new production and life model. Please understand this. The person who has strong beliefs and ideals would never covet after short-lived power and position, nor would they waste valuable time on possessions and vanity. Here I want to say to the 80% of people who own only 5.5% of the world's wealth that your only way out is to move towards Xiefeng-style communism, that no matter what you do, you are not able to ascend to the upper classes. Your lives are constant struggles to survive. When you suffer from illness or natural disaster, you are set way back. For even those of you who own hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, that is only a drop in the bucket. If there is no food for a month, you would know hunger. Therefore, you should long for communism and devote yourselves to communism. Only communism can save you. Taking stopgap measures cannot solve humanity's problems. The only way out is for the whole world to transit to Xiefeng-style communism. How does capitalism transfer to Xiefeng-style communism? With keen eyesight and an open mind and heart, observe, investigate, visit, learn, and study the successful, practical experience of Xiefeng-style communism in our community. The transition should be supported by the United Nations and executed by the respective government of each country, with specific plans and steps. Do not practice this as a worldwide movement, but experiment in small regions at first. Each country should start with from 1 to 3 experimental regions. If they are successful, then they should spread it gradually. If not, then can give it up. In this way, such practices would not inhibit the normal operation of the current system, and it would also be good for exploring the methods and ways of eliminating the current crises which face humanity. Throughout the whole practice, Xiefeng-style communism will not deprive capitalists of their property, and capitalists can continue their commercial activities by following market law. Once half the people on Earth enter this communist lifestyle, and when the capitalists see that communist life is more ideal than their current lives, they will embrace it and become willingly involved with the exploration and practice of Xiefeng-style communism. Not putting requirements on anybody at any time is the core principle of Xiefeng-style communism. People who are involved in the production and life of Xiefeng-style communism must first have a soul garden purification. Capitalism is created and realized by stimulating people's selfishness, greed, wisdom, and skill to realize individual value through attaining resources, wealth, status, rights, and fame. However, Xiefeng-style communism is created by positively inspiring the qualities of sincerity, kindness, beauty, love, faith, and honesty deep within people's hearts to climb to the highest realm of temporary life and eternal life. Without purifying one's soul garden, the laziness, selfishness, and greed of people cannot be overcome, and such people are not suitable for a communist lifestyle. After 7 years' practice, Xiefeng-style communism is still not perfect. We are still exploring it as walking a tightrope or walking on thin ice, which means that we need wise and judicious people from all over the world to point our mistakes out, to offer advice, and to practice it together. We need understanding as well as involvement and support from governments much more. The future is bright, but the road is tortuous. No matter how tough the path and how much difficulty we encounter, we need to make every effort to succeed. Only by making strong effort can we have hope, but once we give up making this effort, the future will definitely be bleak.
耶稣要我们别结婚成家。
Jesus never wanted us to marry. Xiefeng. April 29, 2008. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. The teachings of Jesus is the way of life and truth and the journey to heaven. Jesus is Christ and the Savior. Following his instructions and living according to his instructions is our main guarantee of going to heaven. There are 2.1 billion Christians in the world, but only a small percentage of them truly understand his teachings, and even fewer live according to them. The vast majority are what we call Sunday Christians or verbal Christians, not real ones. Let us illustrate with the example of marrying and starting families. Jesus told us not to marry and start families. Why? On what basis? First of all, we need to know that in his time, he could not tell people directly not to do that. Otherwise, he could not preach to them, so he managed to speak in parables not to be understood directly. He said, "The knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them." At the same time, he also said not to give that which is holy to the dogs, or put your jewels before pigs. That is to say, the core contents would not be told directly. However, as long as we have a deep understanding of his words, we can comprehend their meanings. The book of Matthew tells us what Jesus wants us to know about marrying and starting families. Matthew 10 verse 35. Jesus said, "I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I have come to turn men against their fathers, daughters against their mothers, and daughters-in-law against their mothers-in-law. People's foes shall be from within their own households. Anyone who loves their father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and anyone who loves their son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." Matthew 12 verse 50. Jesus said, "For whoever does the pleasure of my Father in heaven, they are my brother and sister and mother." Matthew 19:9, 19:11. Jesus said, "I tell you that any man who divorces his wife except for marital unfaithfulness and marries another woman commits adultery." The disciples asked, "If this is the situation between husbands and wives, then is it best not to marry?" And Jesus said, "Not everyone can accept this word, but only those to whom it has been given. The ones who can accept this should accept it." Here, Jesus came very close to explaining that clearly. The disciples asked, "Best not to marry?" And Jesus encouraged the unmarried lifestyle. Not everyone can accept this word, but only those to whom it has been given. What was this word? It was not to marry. Therefore, not to marry is something that has been given. Only those to whom it has been given could understand the meaning of not to marry, but others could neither understand nor accept it. Matthew 19 verse 29. Therefore, Jesus Christ stressed further, and everyone who has given up houses, or brothers, or sisters, or father, or mother, or child, or land for my name will be given 100 times as much and have eternal life. Life Genuine advocates that people not marry, break up nuclear families, and hope that married couples will become Chanyuan celestials together so they can end their marriage bonds as implemented in accordance with the teachings of Jesus Christ. The profound meaning of not to marry and start a family is for letting people enter the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 22, verse 30. Jesus told us clearly, "For when they come back from the dead, there will be no husbands or wives, but they will be as the angels in heaven." This further indicates that those who enter into the kingdom of heaven have not married, and that those who have married cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. Why? Can those who marry not enter the kingdom of heaven? The answer is, no, they cannot, and the reasons can be found in Life Genuine, Chanyuan Corpus, and Siefeng Corpus. That is it. I have given a further explanation, but whether you can understand it or not is up to your own considering and judging. Therefore, what Siefeng says does not go against the teachings of Jesus Christ, but carries out Jesus' teachings faithfully. Christians all over the world, do you understand? Do you deserve to be Christians when you are obsessed with marrying and loving your families? Do not shout, "Lord, Lord." Jesus will not hear you.
进入新时代需要转换的意识。
The new consciousness for the new era. Siefeng. Those who wish to be a part of the new era of Life Genuine must realize and accept these 18 requirements. Abandon atheism and the theory of evolution and accept the reality of the greatest creator and follow the way of the greatest creator. Abandon the concepts of ego, family, religion, political party, and state, and form the consciousness of global citizens. Shift from the belief that reality creates consciousness to the belief that consciousness creates reality. Repudiate the God of the Old Testament of the Bible and establish the new idea of the greatest creator. Negate the view of fortuity and establish the view of inevitability. Shift from the view of disorder to that of causality. Accept the existence of different levels of life besides that which we see on the earth. Accept that life consists of a material entity and a spiritual one. Accept that death is not the end of life, but only the beginning of a new journey of life. Accept the reality of the existence of heaven and hell. Understand that there is no ultimate judgment, but that judgment is ongoing and universal. Understand that our futures are determined by us and shaped by our own hands. Understand that whether one has a good future or a bad one depends on whether their non-material structure is perfect or deficient. Abandon personal heroism and elite consciousness and lower oneself to the humblest of position. Understand that what one reaps, so shall they sow, and that we need to contribute more but ask for less in return to accumulate our merits and virtues and to sublimate our quality of life. Understand that only by embracing sincerity, kindness, and virtue can we perfect our own structures of life, completely abandon attack and revenge attitudes, and treat everything kindly. Master the principle of the Mobius net, unify opposites, and give up one's criticisms of the world. Understand that life has an infinite future, and only those who pursue the highest realm of life can have the most splendid future. It is only in this way that we can enter the new era.
国家必将消失，国家正在消亡。
States are bound to disappear, and they are doing so. Siefeng. February 9th, 2018. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. As Zhiliang predicted in his Divination Before Saddled Horses, the talented will be put to good use, and the whole world will be one family, is the general trend of human social development as marriages and families, states, political parties, and religions are becoming decadent. This is a law of the evolution of society that cannot be stopped. Today, artificial intelligence is growing, a black swan which is flying high. The world is rapidly moving toward a new pattern. All the efforts to maintain those marriages and families, states, political parties, and religions are not only fatuous, but even futile. In 2002, I predicted that marriages and families would disappear. That marriages and families, just like foot binding for girls, which was popular in the Southern Song dynasty, would be regarded as symbols of backwardness and fatuity. Today, the rise of the global divorce rate and the rapid increase in the percentage of single people prove that my prediction is becoming a reality. Looking back upon marriages and families from 20 or 30 years hence, people will see them as ridiculous as foot bindings for girls. Marriages and families are the same as states. The present states are equivalent to primitive tribes. Those tribes have died out, and so will states. This must happen because the existence of states seriously restricts the development of the productive forces and the leap of human civilization. Even more horrible is that states are the chief criminal agents which cause military conflicts, overconsumption of resources, purging of human rights, and the destruction of the ecology. All states are actually jails which keep their people in perpetual bondage in their names. It is right to love one's hometown and one's motherland, but wrong to love their state. Places have emotional ties, but states are violent machines. The bankruptcy of states will be disastrous for those in power, but glad tidings and welfare for their nationals. Let us use China as an example to show this. At present, who would think that the extinction of what used to be states but are now provinces was not a good thing? It is precisely because of the extinction of those states that there is a unified China today. Is this not a good thing for the people? At least we do not need visas, nor to deal with customs agents to travel throughout China. How great! If China were again divided into Qi, Chu, Yin, Han, Zhao, Wei, Qin, even add Xixia, Dali, Inner Mongolia, Xinjiang, Tibet, and Manchuria, we would not be able to travel freely between those provinces. How do you feel? It would absolutely not be a good thing for the people. So we can imagine that if there were no states in the world today, and that if all states disappeared, the people would be able to flow freely throughout the world. What a great thing that would be for ordinary people. Therefore, all states are morally bankrupt, and they must all disappear. How can all states be bankrupt and disappear? Facebook has nearly 2 billion users. It has actually become a great invisible power. Mark Zuckerberg has a great plan to build a global community, actually a global government, and as more and more citizens of the Earth join Facebook, the existing states will gradually exist in name only. On February 7, 2018, the private American company, SpaceX, launched a super heavy-duty carrier rocket, Falcon Heavy, far beyond all the satellites in orbit. Their power to launch rockets far exceeds those of Russia, the United States, and China. This shows that if thousands of private enterprises like SpaceX were to appear, then these private enterprises could completely solve all the problems of the world and the existence of the state would be totally unnecessary. In South Africa, Michael Tellinger launched the Ubuntu movement. As this movement becomes more and more popular and is implemented more widely, the existence of the state will become less and less necessary. Someone proposed that the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand should form a federal republic. Would that not be great? I believe that the vast majority of citizens within those 4 countries would cheer. The more quickly that such proposals come into being, the sooner that states will disappear. If the European Union, the African Union, and South America were to unify, then most states would exist in name only. There are thousands of spiritual, ecological consensus communities in the world and their numbers are growing. These communities have been created to solve the problems of food, clothing, shelter, transportation, birth, aging, illness, death, and life sublimation on their own, and none of them are willing to be controlled by any government. With the establishment and development of more and more communities, who will still need huge administrative expenses to bully people, who would want the government to control people and tell them when to urinate and when to defecate. In 2009, I predicted that great disasters around 2013 would not happen. Instead, there would be stepwise, reciprocating, and more serious natural climatic changes. The natural climatic changes over the past 9 years have proven my prediction to be accurate. In the prologue of the third edition of 800 Values for New Era Human Being, I said, "A new era for humanity will begin on New Year's Day of 2018, and it will last for a millennium. The first 30 years will be a time for soul purification and the elimination of outdated consciousnesses. A large-scale soul purification will be necessary for humanity. Those consciousnesses which are not suitable for the needs of the new era will be eliminated. The following 10 years will be a transitional period. The traditional production and life modes will be replaced by new models. After that, humanity will enter a harmonious era when all religions will unite as one. Favorable weather will prevail throughout the year, and everyone will enjoy happy, joyous, free, and blessed lives. This new era will last till the end of the year 3017. In other words, from January 1st, 2018 through the succeeding 20 years, and especially through the first 10 years, unimaginable climatic changes will take place. Refugees from these changes will be countless, and the problems of dealing with the refugee crisis will become more and more difficult. From 2028 to 2038, people will have to compete for survival resources. Their struggles will be unrestrained, impossible to suppress, and extremely cruel. The first 10 years will produce continuous natural disasters, and the succeeding 10 years will be filled with many human misfortunes. This will calm down in 2048 because the population on the Earth will have become much smaller and a stateless world will have been born. Artificial intelligence is evolving in geometric progression. The AlphaGo robot has defeated human beings in many thought experiments. People will still be people after 10 years, but by that time, AlphaGo will have evolved into a super biological robot. Comparing those super biological robots' intelligence to that of today's biological robots would be like comparing human intelligence to that of primitive, four-legged mammals. Professor Kaplan of Stanford University has come up with these statistics. 47% of 720 jobs considered in the United States will be replaced by artificial intelligence. In China, this proportion may exceed 70%. 10 years later, when super biological robots begin to take over the world, states will undoubtedly be swept into history museums. Everything is advancing too rapidly in this era to predict what will happen next. Maybe black swans will fly as we wake up someday, and the world will have changed into something unimaginable, something that we are at a total loss for. By then, such things as states are bound to have vanished completely. In the face of the state, how does every citizen treat it? Do not work hard for your countries because all of those efforts will be in vain. Do not regard yourselves as American, Japanese, or Vietnamese anymore, but think of yourselves as citizens of the earth. Imagining that your state does not exist and consider how you will survive without it, now. Affairs of the family, the state, and the earth are inconsequential. What really matters is your survival. Do not waste precious time listening to the lies and constant haranguing emitted by your governments and their apologists. Governments are not reliable at all. They can never be relied upon. It is no better to rely on a government than to rely on pigs. It is more useful to raise pigs than to raise a government. Join Facebook, the Ubuntu movement, an ecological community, a super private enterprise, a civilized and powerful state, or any crowd that cannot be destroyed by super biological robots. Do not wait until tomorrow, do it today. Escape from unfair societies with scarce resources and dense populations where morals have degenerated as soon as possible. At all times, be vigilant and be alert. Be anchored against the wind, dig deep holes, accumulate grain extensively, and find your way out. Please say good words as much as you can. Hundun Celestial. December 11th, 2006. Translated by Tong Xin and edited by Kair. The ancient said, just as bitter medicine cures sickness, so unpalatable advice benefits conduct. This is half right. The other half should be, the favorable weather benefits the growth of grains, so good and sweet words benefit the affections. Life genuine implements the latter half. Nobody is perfect and flawless. Life is short, so why aim at each other's flaws? Everyone has their unique advantages and shining characteristics, and everyone has their bright spots that are worthy of being appreciated. If we point to other people's flaws, those flaws will be enlarged. But if we appreciate other people's advantages, then their advantages will be enlarged. In order to make people happy and joyful, I advocate being blind to other people's flaws, but to appreciate their bright spots instead. If we continue doing so for a long time, everyone will become kind and merciful, will have glorious hearts, and will be grateful and reasonable. Therefore, in life genuine, please say good words as much as you can. As long as you do not mean to hurt people, you may say whatever you want. Humorous words, lively words, and wise words are all welcome, and as long as you can make others feel happy and pleasant, you will have earned merit. Life is not easy. So many troubles and worries torture people and steal their smiles. So why add frost on snow and make it worse when we get together? Without us, the earth would still rotate normally and other people would still live without any problems. So why should you make others unhappy? I oppose being picky and nibbling, and I oppose wrangling and arguing or teaching others wisdom I have gained, as if I am telling myself. I will not dare to do this in the future, and I will correct this whenever I can. In all situations, if we have reasons, we state them, but we do not suggest that other people are unreasonable. Life genuine is the homeland for spirits and souls. To create a warm and harmonious atmosphere is our ideal and our expectation. The relationships among Chanyuan celestials are the relationships of brothers and sisters, and relatives and lovers. We care and love each other, encourage and appreciate each other. We need to grow with encouragement and praise, but not hurt with arguments and criticism. Dear guests, please understand that this is Life genuine. We will spread such style to every corner of the world and create the Life genuine era by following the principle of the favorable weather benefits the growth of grains, so good and sweet words benefit the affections. Therefore, if you are picky when you enter Life genuine and say this is not good or that is unsuitable, then you are surely not welcome here. The world is big, so please be merciful and allow us to cultivate our own small fields in our own way. Say good words as much as you can, and just keep those picky and critical words to yourself.
乾坤颠倒，仙女为尊，禅院新理念。
The reversal of heaven and earth, respect for women. New value of Chanyuan. Xiefeng. The heaven is superior and the earth is inferior. Man is superior and woman is inferior. This is what is preached in Confucian theories. Confucius is an ancient saint in China and traditional moral ethics. This concept is reversed in Life genuine. Namely, men are green leaves and women are flower petals. In heaven and on earth, women are superior. The reasons are as follows. The source is superior. The source of life is the greatest creator. In the universe, the greatest creator is supreme. Women are superior. The greatest creator has created life, which then propagate by itself, mainly through female. So women are superior. Mother is respectable. After 10 months of gestation, life comes from the mother. So mother should be respected and women should be superior. Sisters and daughters are all women. We should protect sisters and daughters, so women are superior. Women are not as strong as men and are vulnerable to harm, so for the equality and balance, women should be respected. The spirit of the valley never dies. It is called the mystic female. The door of the mystic female is the root of heaven and earth. Xianpin, mystic female, is the female reproductive organ, the root of heaven, which should be revered, so women are superior. Buddha is gender, gender is Buddha, the gate of gender is the gate of Buddhas, only women have the gate of gender. So when we respect Buddhas, we should also respect female. Women are soft and quiet. They love peace and gentleness. They are merciful and kind in nature. They are broad-minded and thus should be respected. In life genuine, considerations should be given first to fairies. Fairies are lotus flowers and fairies are green leaves to protect the flowers. Men should not contend with women. Men should be brave to sacrifice for women. Point 3. Only women can sexually harass men. Men are not permitted to do so. For die in the face of danger, men should go forward to face the danger and place women behind for protection. 5. Women take precedence over men in the matter of enjoyment. 6. Men shall take initiative in doing heavy and dirty and tiring tasks, while light, skilled and clean work shall be reserved for women. 7. Men are not permitted to humiliate, desecrate, abuse, beat, maltreat, persecute, scorn, and deride women. 8. Men are not permitted to limit women's freedom of person, spirit, and soul in the name of love. This idea is debatable around the broad masses. Anyone who disagrees to it can put forward solid evidences and theories. Only a simple expression of complaint is not enough. January 10, 2011.
人类遏制气候恶化的唯一途径。
The only way to restrain climate deterioration. Xiefeng. November 19, 2018. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Can the Kyoto Protocol or the Paris Agreement restrain climatic deterioration? It is an unrealistic and completely impossible joke to think so. And those projects to restrain global warming from some countries are even less possible. The core factor in climatic degradation is not carbon emissions and the pollution of land, air, and water, nor is it a matter of cattle and sheep digesting and producing methane gas, but rather, it is one of the human soul. Your state of consciousness determines your living environment, and the overall reality is a projection of humanity's consciousness. Without changes of human consciousness and the purification of people's souls, it will be absolutely impossible to reverse the deterioration of our climate and our environment. This is an issue that can be resolved very easily. So what data analyses, computer simulations, and dedicated researches are needed? Will it be necessary for the United Nations to organize international conferences and meetings to discuss and formulate programs repeatedly? Our environmental problem is one of people's souls, and the first thing necessary is to reverse and to purify them, but this cannot be accomplished by the UN or by any state or states, but only by everyone involving and purifying their own souls individually. This purification of human souls must be carried out from theoretical directions and with new orders of construction, both at the same time. As for theoretical guidance, I have offered a plan to prepare everyone, but they need to learn from me and abide by me. The order of construction is to replace the traditional production and life modes of society with a new one according to the model of the new oasis for life as created by Life Genuine. This is the only way to reverse the deterioration of our environment. Honestly, though, it is too late to take action even if society were to begin immediately. I have shouted and appealed for at least the last decade, but instead of listening, most have wrecked the theories and practical demonstrations of Life Genuine. What can be done now is not to restrain climatic and environmental degradation, but to save a small group of people as seeds for human continuation, or extinction will be our destiny. The crisis is here and now. If people still remain completely indifferent, then disasters such as the fires near Paradise Town in California, USA will recur frequently. Remember, no place in the world is safe. Where there are no fires, rivers might flood. Where there are no droughts, violent storms might blow. Where there are no earthquakes, volcanoes might erupt. And where there are no plagues, intensely hot summers or bitterly cold winters might become normal. This does not even address the eventualities of massive theft, murders, and wars. In short, there is no way to escape from these disasters. Those who want to live must follow my guidance. I am the messenger of the greatest creator, the incarnation of God, Buddha, celestials, sages, and saints, and the greatest spiritual guide of our time. Please do not hoard what you possess, but dedicate your wealth so that we can build our new mode of production and life on Earth as soon as possible. Do not be short-sighted and accuse me of wanting to accumulate wealth by taking yours. I want nothing from you, but you need to use your wealth to save yourself. I hope that the UN will cooperate with us. There are many places on Earth which are disputed between nations and tribes, but can be administered by them. So let us build new modes of production and life in these disputed places as soon as possible so that we can have kindling materials for the continuation of our species. It will not matter if people continue to turn deaf ears and use their small minds to deny my warnings and assumptions because they will learn the truth, but it will be too late by then. Have foresight and take action now. November 19th, 2018.
共产主义在这里已全面实现。
Communism has been fully realized here. Xiefeng. The pursuit of an ideal society has been an everlasting ideological subject for sages and saints of mankind. The establishment of an ideal society has always been a direction and goal aspired by great politicians. Mankind has never stopped its exploration and pursuit of an ideal society, from the ideal of great harmony practiced by China's sage Confucius, to the ideal of republic advocated by ancient Greek philosopher Plato, to utopia proposed by Thomas More of England, to utopian socialism of Saint Simon and Fourier, to communism founded by Marx in Germany. There have been various attempts to establish an ideal society, from New Harmony Village created in Indiana of America by Robert Owen of England, to collective farms launched by Stalin of Russia, to People's Commune established by Mao Zedong in China, to Mountain Shore Village in Japan, and to kibbutz in Israel. Actually, Kingdom of God, described by Jesus Christ in the Bible, the Elysium world mentioned by Buddha in Buddhist Sutra, the Society of Harmony portrayed by Lao Tzu and Tao Te Ching are all ideal societies. Now we can say that one common goal, namely the highest ideal of life mankind can achieve, has been described and pursued by great harmony, republic, utopia, ideal land, harmonious society, communism, the kingdom of God, and the Elysium world. The highest ideal society pursued by mankind must have the following 18 characteristics. Public ownership is the prevailing way under Tao. There is no private ownership, all properties are shared. There is no marriage, no family, no political party, no religion, no state, no organization of any form. There is no currency. The talented are put to good use, and the whole world will be one family. No one will pocket anything found on the road, and doors will not be bolted at night. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Recommend and assign the talented to important tasks, advocate good faith and harmony. The old are taken care of, the strong are put to good use, and the widowed, orphaned, sick and handicapped are well provided. All members have meals at public dining halls. Normally the work hours will be limited within 6 hours per day. Rich and plentiful material wealth without extravagance and waste. Extremely harmonious social relations and high spiritual realm. Rich and colorful cultural entertainment and games. Everyone develops freely in an all-round manner. Everyone brings his or her talent into full play. All things are put to good use. Everyone has a joyful, happy, free, and blessed life. Everyone is in the service of the others, and no one owes anyone anything. The environment is clean, tidy, elegant, and serene, like an earthly paradise. It can be said that the above 18 conditions have been basically realized in the life of the second home created by Life Chanuan. In another word, communism has been fully implemented in the second home, or it may be said, the kingdom of the greatest creator has descended upon the earth. As the founder of communism Marx has said, without belief in God, the greatest creator, and without identity with Christ, Mankind cannot possess truly perfect virtue to pursue truth and light. Only God, the greatest creator, can save us. The facts have proved this to be true. The complete realization of mankind's ideal society in the sea and home of life Echanuan is the very fruit of our reverence for the greatest creator and our observance of the way of the greatest creator. Of course, we have another secret. That is, we have imitated and copied the life and production model of the thousand-year world of the heavenly kingdom. Today, I hereby proclaim to the whole mankind, communism has been realized in the second home, and the kingdom of the greatest creator has descended upon the earth. August 24th, 2011.
人类坐失了一次良机。
Humanity has missed a great chance. Xiefeng. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. If you have been keeping up with global climate change and the dynamics of our political state, you must feel that the crisis is getting worse and worse. Tomorrow or death. It is sometimes difficult to predict which will come first as you retire for the evening. On October 18th of this year, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, of the United Nations released a report in Incheon, South Korea, IPCC global warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius, which says that global warming must not be allowed to exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius or mankind will succumb to an extremely pitiful doomsday by the year 2040. Can we keep global warming under 1.5 degrees Celsius? It is out of control, a dream. 2040 is only 22 years away. Attention, please. If the end comes in 22 years, then for many people, next year, or perhaps even tomorrow will be the end of their time, and they might not even see tomorrow's sunrise. This is not a bluff or prophecy from some historical prophets or the ravings of spirits and deities about fortunes and disasters, but the conclusion drawn by experts from more than 40 countries who have accumulated more than 6,000 pieces of data. In fact, I personally warned people clearly in early April 2009 that the so-called apocalypse of 2012 would not happen but would be replaced in a gradual, reciprocating, and increasingly serious way. Almost a decade has passed, so let us find out how precisely the climate changes over the last decade have conformed to my predictions. In addition, at the end of 2017, I warned humanity once again that from 2018 on, the Earth would enter a new era and that dramatic changes would take place during the first 3 decades. You can look back at the climate changes of 2018. Can you sense the smell of the coming storm? From now on, the changes will get worse and worse until the extremely pitiful doomsday happens. Actually, if people had followed my guidance 10 years ago, then they would have avoided their current suffering, but they missed their great chance. How do I know all this? Because I am the messenger of the greatest creator, the incarnation of the God, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints. It does not matter if you think that I am bluffing and that my purpose is to deceive you and gain money or carnal pleasure. That is your right and freedom. However, people with spirituality know the truth, and it is not hard for rational people to understand what I have said and written for more than the last decade and draw their own conclusions. Now, it is unnecessary to repeat what I warned of in the past. All epoch-making theories and practices are relegated to history. If I had merely pointed out the problem but had not offered any solution to it, then I would be unworthy of the title of messenger and incarnation. The problem is that I showed the way to solve the crisis and even created a model, but if people either did not believe me or simply ignored me, then it is not my problem, but theirs. It can be said that the greatest creator, through his messengers, has warned mankind and shown them the way forward. Gods, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints through their incarnations have done their best, and no matter how humanity will suffer, no one can blame them for neither helping you nor saving you. The United Nations has met many times to formulate plans and appeals to try to solve the problem of climate change. The most famous of those was the Paris Agreement. As I said in my article, all the efforts of the UN could not accomplish enough. This is because the root of climate change lies in mankind's traditional production and life mode. In order to stop climate change, We must change that production and life mode. Any other measures and methods are futile. Of course, the final end can be delayed for several years, but it cannot solve the root problem. So how do we change the traditional production and life mode of mankind? With my guidance, angel-like Chanyun celestials have established a model for humanity, the new oasis of life, formerly the second home model. From this model, we have a wealth of written reports, pictures, illustrations, and video presentations. In this regard, however, the United Nations, governments of major countries, experts and scholars, and billions of myopic people have been completely indifferent. So, if 2040 becomes the extremely pitiful doomsday, can we not say that mankind deserves it? Is mankind not beyond redemption? It is too late to reverse climate change now, regardless of what efforts are made. However, mankind will not die out. People will still multiply on the earth, and within another 40 years, they will usher in a brilliant era and live happier lives than have never existed before. Unfortunately, though, not many people who are alive today will survive to that time, and whether you will be one of them will depend completely upon your fortune, but even those who have fluky luck might not survive unharmed. Causality is everything. We must rely on the laws and rules of nature. Divine punishments, though slow, are always sure, with big meshes, yet letting nothing slip through. It is customary for executioners to offer condemned prisoners one final good meal before they put them to death, so all of you should just enjoy your meals and have fun, day by day, every day.
生命禅院创始人雪峰再次自白。
The second confession of Xue Feng, the founder of Life Chanyuan. Xue Feng. Xue Feng is not any kind of god, Buddha, or celestial being. He was not sent to earth by higher-level life beings. He is very down to earth instead. Xue Feng doesn't have any supernatural power and never has shown any as well. Xue Feng has told his personal story very clearly. He was born in a poor family near the Yellow River, Gansu Province, China. He also have told his history clearly to all Chanyuan celestials, and he doesn't have anything mysterious to hide. Xue Feng doesn't have a master. What he said or wrote are all what he learned from life experience. Xue Feng doesn't have any political background, nor does he have any political or other kind of organization as his support. Xue Feng is not the spokesman of the greatest creator as some people think wishfully. He has never said that he was the spokesman. Xue Feng is not any kind of savior, as some people think wishfully, and has never said that and accepted that title. Xue Feng is not a master, and against people call him master. Xue Feng claimed himself a tour guide, and said more than once that he doesn't have the goodness what a master possesses. Xue Feng called himself the messenger of the greatest creator, the embodiment of Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, Lao Tzu, and the Prophet Muhammad. The reason is that he has written an 100,000 Chinese word chapter called The Greatest Creator. He thinks it is the most comprehensive and profound description about the greatest creator. Although so, he has never given orders in the name of the messenger of the greatest creator. He has very insightful understanding of Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, Lao Tzu, and the Prophet Muhammad, and resonates with their thoughts and wills. That is why he calls himself the embodiment. As for Xue Feng said that he is from the heaven, 10,000-year world, that is the truth. If people don't understand and have nowhere to verify it, it is up to them to think Xue Feng is talking nonsense. March 24, 2011.
我与武汉冠状病毒的对话。
My conversation with Wuhan coronavirus. Xiefeng. January 24, 2020. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Xiefeng. Hello, Wuhan coronavirus. Where do you come from and what is your name? Coronavirus. We are plague God 008, and we have been lurking within people for many millennia. Xiefeng. Why have you emerged now? Plague God 008. Because the conditions for our emergence have been met. Xiefeng, what do you mean? What are these conditions? Plague God 008. Just as when a person does not bathe or change clothes for a long time, lice will emerge because the conditions for the emergence of lice become ripe. Xiefeng, I am still confused. Are you lurking within humans' bodies? Plague God 008. Yes, we have been and we are. Xiefeng, so, you were not passed on from animals such as bats, snakes, or Paguma larvata to people. Plague God 008. Of course not. We awakened from within people's bodies. Xiefeng, since you have been lurking in people's bodies for so long, why have you only appeared now, but never before? Plague God 008. The conditions for our emergence had never been right before. Xiefeng, what conditions for your emergence have ripened? Plague God 008. Qi. We will emerge naturally as long as these 8 qi exist. Strong enough stench qi. Bitter enough hatred qi. Violent enough temper qi. Scary enough nerve qi. Evil enough heart qi. Dense enough lung qi. Weak enough kidney qi. Feeble enough liver qi. Xiefeng, so, when someone has what you call the 8 qi, you will appear in their body? Plague God 008. Yes. Xiefeng, so no viral transmission occurs? Plague God 008. Transmission is only how we awaken. Once this happens, we attempt to awaken others who lurk within other people's bodies. Whether they can be awakened or not depends on those 8 qi and people within whom they had lurked sufficiently to meet our conditions. Xiefeng, so, many people will not be infected even if they are in contaminated areas? Plague God 008. Correct. Most teenagers have strong nerve qi, sturdy kidney qi, clear lung qi, and are not infected easily, but many middle-aged and older people have thick stench qi, strong hatred qi, weak kidney qi, dense lung qi, feeble nerve qi, and are infected easily. Xiefeng, how do you transmit, as you said, to awaken within others? Plague God 008. Through information. Xiefeng, I do not understand this. Could you explain it more clearly? Plague God 008. We do not enter into people's bodies through their mouths or wounds, but through their eyes and ears. Xiefeng, now I am even more confused. How can you enter people's bodies through their eyes and ears? Plague God 008. When phenomena are witnessed by one's eyes or messages are heard by their ears, then we actually enter into the recipient's minds and awaken. Xiefeng, if this is so, then is the reason that people are infected by viruses not because pathogens have entered into their bodies, but because those that have lurked within their bodies have awakened after their carriers see infected people's situations and hear the information about the viral transmissions? Plague God 008. Yes, so those who see the so-called patients, such as doctors, relatives, and friends, become susceptible to infection, as do those who hear about the disease, and the more and clearer the information that they get is, the more their chances become of succumbing to us. Xiefeng, these unheard-of ways of transmission are incredible. Plague God 008. People can be scared to death, but how? The more panic and fear they have, and the more confused they become, the easier it is for us to sneak in. Fear is one of the most effective ways for us to control people. Xiefeng, so people who are not afraid of you are not easily infected? Plague God 008. Of those who possess pure minds and stick to the one at absolute peace, being unselfish and free from ego, full of joy and happiness, we are powerless. Xiefeng, will no medicine work on you? Plague God 008. We are invisible, odorless, colorless, and tasteless. What medicine would you use? Material medicines will not work against us, but non-material medicines can play a role. Xiefeng, I see. Thanks for telling me so frankly. How long will you stay? Plague God 008. It is not for us to decide. If the stench qi is strong, then we might grow and persevere. If it fades away, then who is to stay? Therefore, we might stay for only 3 months and be gone, or we might stay for 3 years. That depends on people's 8 qi. For instance, if people's hatred qi declines, we will be unable to stay. Xiefeng, one more question. Why are you called Plague God 008? Plague God 008. There is no doubt that we are gods. As for 008, this is because there are also plague gods 009, 010, 011, 012, and many others. Humans call 009 pestilence, 010 is smallpox, 011 is flu, and on through the list. Xiefeng, who are plague gods 007, 006, 005, and so on? Plague God 008. Those plague gods are much fiercer than we are but have not awakened yet. They will rise when their conditions ripen. Xiefeng, are you the SARS virus which came in 2003? Plague God 008. Yes, we changed our structure slightly so that more of us could awaken. People will have trouble recognizing us after our structures change, and we are not in a hurry to awake more versions of us. We will do it quietly so that it will be impossible for anyone to defend against us effectively. Xiefeng, it is said that your birthplace, Wuhan City, has been sealed off so that you cannot get spread out. Will it not be difficult for you to wake the rest of you up in the rest of the world? Plague God 008. There is no way to seal us off. We are invisible. So isolation is only people's self-paralysis and self-anesthesia. Our emergence is concerned with people's 8 qi, not about regions or the sizes of population centers. Xiefeng, I suppose that you resent or even envy the large population on the earth, so you have come to reduce it. Plague God 008. We abide by our laws strictly, do not have any moods, and have nothing to do with big or small population centers on Earth. We may emerge in many people or few people, however it is easier to spread the 8 qi and induce the conditions for our emergence in places where many people gather. Xiefeng, I want to know why you chose to emerge in Wuhan, a transportation hub through which so many people travel back and forth, especially just before and after the Chinese Spring Festival when a large number of people pass through it. This seems to be a deliberate attempt to maximize your devastation. Plague God 008. Do not blame us unjustly, we never did that on purpose. For us, the proper conditions are the only factors that will bring us forth. As for matters of the earth, humans, or China, they are not our concern. Xiefeng, is this a coincidence, a random event? But there are no chances or coincidences in the universe. Everything is inevitable. Plague God 008. We have no idea. You will have to ask the higher gods.
我与武汉冠状病毒的对话。
My conversation with Wuhan coronavirus. Xiefeng, January 24th, 2020. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Xiefeng, hello, Wuhan coronavirus. Where do you come from and what is your name? Coronavirus. We are Plague God 008, and we have been lurking within people for many millennia. Xiefeng, why have you emerged now? Plague God 008. Because the conditions for our emergence have been met. Xiefeng, what do you mean? What are these conditions? Plague God 008. Just as when a person does not bathe or change clothes for a long time, lice will emerge because the conditions for the emergence of lice become ripe. Xiefeng, I am still confused. Are you lurking within humans' bodies? Plague God 008. Yes, we have been and we are. Xiefeng, so, you were not passed on from animals such as bats, snakes, or Paguma larvata to people. Plague God 008. Of course not. We awaken from within people's bodies. Xiefeng. Since you have been lurking in people's bodies for so long, why have you only appeared now, but never before? Plague God 008. The conditions for our emergence had never been right before. Xiefeng. What conditions for your emergence have ripened? Plague God 008. Qi. We will emerge naturally as long as these 8 qi exist. Strong enough stench qi. Bitter enough hatred qi. Violent enough temper qi. Scary enough nerve qi. Evil enough heart qi. Dense enough lung qi. Weak enough kidney qi. Feeble enough liver qi. Xiefeng. So, when someone has what you call the 8 qi, you will appear in their body? Plague God 008. Yes. Xiefeng. So no viral transmission occurs? Plague God 008. Transmission is only how we awaken. Once this happens, we attempt to awaken others who lurk within other people's bodies. Whether they can be awakened or not depends on those 8 qi and people within whom they had lurked sufficiently to meet our conditions. Xiefeng. So, many people will not be infected even if they are in contaminated areas? Plague God 008. Correct. Most teenagers have strong nerve qi, sturdy kidney qi, clear lung qi, and are not infected easily, but many middle-aged and older people have thick stench qi, strong hatred qi, weak kidney qi, dense lung qi, feeble nerve qi, and are infected easily. Xiefeng, how do you transmit, as you said, to awaken within others? Plague God 008. Through information. Xiefeng, I do not understand this. Could you explain it more clearly? Plague God 008. We do not enter into people's bodies through their mouths or wounds, but through their eyes and ears. Xiefeng, now I am even more confused. How can you enter people's bodies through their eyes and ears? Plague God 008. When phenomena are witnessed by one's eyes or messages are heard by their ears, then we actually enter into the recipient's minds and awaken. Xiefeng. If this is so, then is the reason that people are infected by viruses not because pathogens have entered into their bodies, but because those that have lurked within their bodies have awakened after their carriers see infected people's situations and hear the information about the viral transmissions? Plague God 008. Yes, so those who see the so-called patients, such as doctors, relatives, and friends, become susceptible to infection, as do those who hear about the disease, and the more and clearer the information that they get is, the more their chances become of succumbing to us. Xiefeng. These unheard-of ways of transmission are incredible. Plague God 008. People can be scared to death, but how? The more panic and fear they have, and the more confused they become, the easier it is for us to sneak in. Fear is one of the most effective ways for us to control people. Xiefeng. So people who are not afraid of you are not easily infected? Plague God 008. Of those who possess pure minds and stick to the one at absolute peace, being unselfish and free from ego, full of joy and happiness, we are powerless. Xiefeng. Will no medicine work on you? Plague God 008. We are invisible, odorless, colorless, and tasteless. What medicine would you use? Material medicines will not work against us, but non-material medicines can play a role. Xiefeng, I see. Thanks for telling me so frankly. How long will you stay? Plague God 008. It is not for us to decide. If the stench qi is strong, then we might grow and persevere. If it fades away, then who is to stay? Therefore, we might stay for only 3 months and be gone, or we might stay for 3 years. That depends on people's 8 qi. For instance, if people's hatred qi declines, we will be unable to stay. Xiefeng, one more question. Why are you called Plague God 008? Plague God 008. There is no doubt that we are gods. As for 008, this is because there are also Plague Gods 009, 010, 011, 012, and many others. Humans call 009 pestilence, 010 is smallpox, 011 is flu, and on through the list. Xiefeng, who are Plague Gods 007, 006, 005, and so on? Plague God 008. Those plague gods are much fiercer than we are but have not awakened yet. They will rise when their conditions ripen. Xiefeng, are you the SARS virus which came in 2003? Plague God 008. Yes, we changed our structure slightly so that more of us could awaken. People will have trouble recognizing us after our structures change, and we are not in a hurry to awake more versions of us. We will do it quietly so that it will be impossible for anyone to defend against us effectively. Xiefeng, it is said that your birthplace, Wuhan City, has been sealed off so that you cannot get spread out. Will it not be difficult for you to wake the rest of you up in the rest of the world? Plague God 008. There is no way to seal us off. We are invisible. So isolation is only people's self-paralysis and self-anesthesia. Our emergence is concerned with people's 8 qi, not about regions or the sizes of population centers. Xiefeng, I suppose that you resent or even envy the large population on the earth, so you have come to reduce it. Plague God 008. We abide by our laws strictly, do not have any moods, and have nothing to do with big or small population centers on earth. We may emerge in many people or few people, however it is easier to spread the 8 qi and induce the conditions for our emergence in places where many people gather. Xiefeng, I want to know why you chose to emerge in Wuhan, a transportation hub through which so many people travel back and forth, especially just before and after the Chinese Spring Festival when a large number of people pass through it. This seems to be a deliberate attempt to maximize your devastation. Plague God 008. Do not blame us unjustly, we never did that on purpose. For us, the proper conditions are the only factors that will bring us forth. As for matters of the earth, humans, or China, they are not our concern. Xiefeng, is this a coincidence? A random event? But there are no chances or coincidences in the universe. Everything is inevitable. Plague God 008. We have no idea. You will have to ask the higher gods.
上帝使者再次警示人类。
Another warning to mankind from the messenger of the greatest creator, Dayform Buddha. January 1st, 2020. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. More than 2,500 years ago, a messenger from the greatest creator warned mankind about today's situation. Today, I have come to fulfill those ancient warnings. Floods, fires, wars, plagues, unrest, earthquakes, and other disasters which began in 2009 will continue to play their roles from the warnings which had been given to you a long time ago. Those people whose souls and hearts show only darkness, who pursue material pleasures, who fail to keep their faith, and who are selfish and egotistical, will reap all that they have sown. Let me lead those of you who still have rays of light in your souls onto a brighter path. Take the way of the greatest creator, not the ways of mankind, gods, Buddha, celestial beings, or demons. Revere the greatest creator, not your worldly leaders. Read the books without words, not the ones written by man. Forget all religions, for they have all become corrupted. None of them retain any truth any longer. Escape from marriages and families. They will lower you down to hell, not raise you up to heaven. Stop pursuing material pleasures. They will devour your spirits and souls and drag you into darkness. Pursue wealth of spirit and soul to the greatest extent. Only they can make your souls healthy and pure and lead you to heaven. Woe unto those people who possess great material wealth, for their sins are great, and their misfortunes will never come singularly. Woe unto those people with great power, for they oppress the good, deceive the public, force the pure into prostitution, compel the honest to become thieves, and they will shirk responsibility for their transgressions hardly. Woe unto those people who break their promises, for they are lawless, possess neither virtue nor wisdom, disregard nature's laws, and create unlimited strife and suffering. As divine punishments are always sure, they will not escape theirs. Woe unto selfish and egoistical people, for they are heartless, ignore laws and rules, and destroy nature. They will face painful consequences. Woe unto those people who practice psychic powers and preach supernatural power and magical arts, for they are only concerned with spirits, deities, fortunes, and disasters. They break rules, talk wildly at will, and guide people down evil paths. They deviate from natural rules and principles. They sin greatly. Do not envy and yearn for capitalism. It invites its own destruction inevitably. Do not envy and yearn for socialism. Much deceit, injustice, and lies are within it, and its road is impassable. Light the divine lamp within your souls. Never do evil when encountering hardships and tribulations, but always continue with kindness. For it is only in this way that you can escape from your troubles and leave your suffering and disasters. Each of you has your own soul garden. You need to de-weed it and cut the poisonous grass from it as soon as possible, and then import the flowers of virtue. Cultivate and fertilize them well so that you will gradually step into the new era after the disasters have ended. Never run around blindly, for no place is absolutely safe. The key to saving yourself is inside yourself, for you can never outrun your shadow. As time is running out, do not let the excess of disinformation on the web and in the media devour your last chance, but search for life-related issues quickly. Follow the instructions laid out by saints and sages and venture to climb toward the ideal realm that mankind has dreamed of. The beauty of the future era is beyond belief. I have prepared the road for new era humans, which is the way of the greatest creator and the road of life genuine. We hope that you will avoid the disasters and step into our new era.
谁能经营好夫妻生活？
Who can manage a marriage well? Xu Efan. December 31st, 2018. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Kair. Everyone wants to manage their marriage well. They want to grow old together with their childhood sweethearts, respect, support, and love each other until they die, and be compliant and loving until the end. But try to answer this question. How many people across all times and countries can actually do this? Can emperors or presidents? Can billionaires? Can powerful and influential high officials and dignitaries? Can literary talents, experts, professors, or stars of entertainment? Can even ordinary workers manage them well? The answer is that no one can manage their marriage well. Even saints cannot do it. What is the ideal marriage? A happy marriage requires that there are never arguments or quarrels, no hurting words towards each other, mutual trust without suspicion, that neither will keep private money or even consider sexual relations with anyone else, and that both will treat their parents, parents-in-law, uncles, other in-laws, more distant relatives, friends, colleagues, neighbors, and children equally well and with the same spirit, heart, and courtesy, and without disagreements. Each respects and has much love for the other, and they never have any kind of cold war with verbal or emotional violence, let alone physical violence. The wife never attempts to control the husband by crying, misbehaving, or threatening to harm herself, and the husband never swears, curses, or threatens to harm his wife. When either is unhappy, the other takes good care of them and comforts them lovingly. They were not born on the same day, but they hope to die together in each other's arms. May I ask what husband or wife can do this? Stop fantasizing because there are none. They only exist in fiction novels. Question: where is the problem? Answer: it is in human nature. Human nature is inherently selfish, so knowing that, how could you hope to find such a thing in real life? The most complicated and difficult relationships in the world are those between married couples. If it is not a good match, then there will be no equality. If they are not in the same realm, then there will be no mutual understanding. If they do not make a perfect match, then it is inevitable that one will cheat on the other. If one of them is not enthusiastic about the other's career or hobbies, then they will not resonate in harmony. The relationships between married couples are not simply ones between two people. Rather, they involve all aspects of life. Unless a couple occupies an environment in which they are isolated from the world and rich in food, the war between them, whether obvious or secretive, superficial or deep, will only stop when death brings their relationship to a close. People all yearn for freedom, but as long as you are in a marital relationship, that will never happen. Will people be free if they earn more money? Will an official be free if they rise to higher ranks? Will a performer be free if they become famous? Will people be free if they escape to a foreign country? No, 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 and no. So stop cheating yourselves and each other. Your superficial tenderness cannot hide your heart's eagerness, and your superficial smiles cannot cover up your heart's bitter tears. People need to end marital relationships now. Then how are people to live without marital relationships while still satisfying their needs for spiritual, emotional, and physical intimacy? Blessed are we because it is for this reason that the ideal life mode which humans have dreamed of for thousands of years has finally arrived. It is the new oasis for life, the second home, mode created by Life Genuine. After nearly 10 years of exploration and experimentation, we have found that this mode can not only solve all the problems that all couples have faced and confronted, but also lead lives toward a rich and beautiful world of happiness, joy, freedom, and blessing. The problem which has not been solved for thousands of years finally has been, now. Discard your fantasies and troubles and start to move toward Life Genuine's new oasis for life.
Come closer.
Closer still. Do not try to change your husband or wife. Do not try to know and understand them thoroughly. Stop making unnecessary efforts, but try to build the new oasis for life wholeheartedly. Plunge into the life of the new oasis for life. This is the most rational choice for a better life. I hope that you can enter the new oasis for life, originally the second home, soon and experience the real joy of being human. Only then will you truly understand what human life can be.
人生每一次际遇都是一场考试。
Each encounter in life is an exam. Xiefeng. March 14th, 2019. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. Gods are watching from just above your head. A whisper in the mortal world is like a rumble of thunder in heaven. Evil that is done secretly is as recognizable to the greatest creator as a flash of lightning in your eyes. My body has carried my soul in this world for more than 60 years, and I have experienced much during that time. Since my mission to create Life Genuine began, I have made careful observations of everyone whom I encountered. It should be said that I am searching carefully for those who can go to heaven. To be honest, less than 1/100% can do this. That is to say, only 1 in 10,000 people can go to heaven. I have discovered many mysteries from my practice of reaping ripe crops. With every encounter in life is an exam, being one of them. After staring at every person I met, genuine celestials and others, I understood that the greatest creator is staring at every life being in the universe and that all things and persons who anyone encounters are exams for them. If one passes an exam, then they will move on to the next one. If they fail it, then they must continue in this incarnation for another exam. If they fail to pass the exams for a millennium, then they will reincarnate for a millennium. If they fail them for 10 millennia, then they will reincarnate for 10 millennia. The will of the greatest creator cannot be violated, but the human mind is unpredictable. Human minds can be good and evil because human souls are unpredictable and inconclusive. The only way is to set up tens of thousands of exams, and they will be your experiences in life. When you meet someone, how you treat them is an exam. When you encounter an event, how to deal with it is an exam. Whatever we encounter, even if it is facing a bug, a beggar, or a social activity, it is actually an exam. What people do not realize is that there are people who have always been staring at us, recording our merits and demerits. Even if you drift to a desert island, are an emperor sitting upon your throne, are in prison, or are talking to yourself, there are people staring at you, and you cannot escape the eyes of these people. I am speaking of the divine punishment, though slow, are always sure philosophy. Knowing this, I now realize that life is like walking on thin ice or on a tightrope because you can only be considered a spiritual self-cultivator and have the opportunity to go to heaven when you understand this. Without understanding it, no matter how well educated you are, how rich in wisdom you are, how many merits you have accumulated, or even if you have self-cultivated for tens of thousands of years, you can only be a mere human and can never reach heaven. The content of the exam is set by Tao, is very simple, and anyone can get passing scores. I will give 8 examples here. Someone sang or danced for you, so you clapped your hands and passed the exam. Had you been indifferent, you would have failed it. You dropped some food on the dinner table, so you picked it up, ate it, and passed the exam. Had you wasted it, you would have failed it. Someone cooked a meal for you, gave you their seat, praised and encouraged you, or helped you, so you thanked them and passed the exam. Had you not, you would have failed it. You encountered a tortoise while driving on the road, so you stopped the car and let the tortoise pass first and passed the exam. Had you just rolled over it, you would have failed it. You saw a beggar passing by and gave alms and passed the exam. Had you ignored them, you would have failed it. You met a lost person, so you patiently pointed the way to them and passed the exam. Had you ignored them, you would have failed it. You saw rubbish, so you cleaned it up and passed the exam. Had you turned a blind eye to it and left it there, you would have failed it. You caused inconvenience to others, so you apologized and passed the exam. Had you not apologized, you would have failed it. There are thousands of examples like this, and we should never think that any of them are unimportant. During my lifetime of dealing with people, I have found that most people's reactions cannot pass all of their exams. For example, a doctor speaks fine words, but when they have the opportunity to help a patient, they might avoid it. I often give likes to people who post on their WeChat moments, but they never give likes to the articles that I share. Hollow valleys echo, dead valleys are silent. If you read our 800 values for new era human beings, you are asked to contribute $1. The fact is that even if it is not 1 million people, at least 100,000 people have read the values, but fewer than 10 people have paid these dollars throughout the past 10 years. This is the overall credit of a nation. A few days ago, I posted the article, "An amorous heart is the most true heart," in a WeChat group. As a result, the group owner immediately warned me to delete it. The owner failed the exam. Someone applied to add me on WeChat. I accepted and welcomed them, but they ignored my welcome. Some people speak very piously, but they completely ignore what you say. Someone came to me with a vow but left with neither a sound nor a trace, so I deleted them from my contact list. Deleted means gone, disappeared, dead. We are dead in each other's minds. Back to the point, no matter who we are, we experience many people and many things every day. Every encounter is an exam, and Tao is always our judge. Our future is determined by the results of our exams. The greatest creator has never abandoned anyone. He has been arranging encounters to save us. Once, twice, 10 times, thousands of times, he never gives up. We should not expect to enter heaven by passing only a single exam. What we need is to pass every exam, all of them. A failure of any exam will inevitably bring you back for a re-examination. We cannot have fluky minds. Tao's test is absolutely scientific, rigorous, meticulous, practical, and realistic. You are bound to encounter setbacks if you try to muddle through its exams by luck.